I'm Phyllis. I live in my van.
Hello, my members. I thought I'd tell you a little story about two marriage proposals I've had on the road. The first one is the interesting one I'm going to tell you about. I was at a rest area and this fella walked by and he was kind of good looking, honestly, age appropriate. And he was asking about my van. So I brought him inside, gave him a little tour, and we were talking for a little while. And he said, well, he would start quizzing me about like, what's your life like? Do you have a job? Stuff like that. And he said, well, he had a business proposal for me. Business proposal, that's what he called it. And I said, well, what is it? And he wouldn't tell me what he did or, what it was. And finally, like, must have been like a half an hour later, he said, and I still can't believe it. Oh, by the way, some background on the gentleman. He was Greek, and he's been living in the U.S. for, I don't remember how long, like 15 years. And he has a couple of businesses here. And so he said he wanted to get married to an American so he could become a citizen. And he offered me $10,000 if I would do that. And I don't know why I didn't just kick that man out right then, but y'all might know me a little bit, and I do like a little bit of adventure. I like a little bit of fun and what my son calls hijinks, and I'm sure this would qualify as a hijank because I said, well, tell me more about it. And he talked about the arrangements, and I said, well, I'm not looking to get arrested. We'd actually have to live together, because the feds, they want to see that you're an actual married couple. So he thought about it clearly a lot also. I mean, all I know basically is what I've seen in movies and stuff like that. But so he said, yeah, we'd absolutely have to do that. And so we talked about it some more. I said, well, I'm thinking about it. So we were in California now, I remember, because he was headed to San Francisco where he had his boat. And I said I would go up and meet him there and we could talk more about it. So I drove to San Francisco. It was about 2 hours away from where I was. And I met him down at the slip where his boat was. And y'all, oh my gosh, some of y'all might want to marry this man just to live on that boat. It was beautiful. It was, I don't know from boats. It was a sailboat and it was solid wood. It was just gorgeous and had this little cabin. And anyway, so I got there and he was kind of prickly from the moment I got there. Prickly and like not nice. And when I met him, he was so charming and sweet and just seemed like a nice guy. But he was just entirely different than when he was when I first met him. I was like, well, I'm here and whatever. So we went on his boat and he kept telling me to be quiet. And he didn't want anyone to hear about what we were talking about him paying me to marry him to become an American citizen, which I understand. So he said, well, let's go down inside the cabin. So we went in the cabin and it was like weird. It was like he was interviewing me and I would try to ask questions and he would, no, I can't do a Greek accent. And then I can't remember what set him off, but he said, no, you don't. I wish I could do a Greek accent. You don't interrupt me. That's not what you do. I was like, what? And I got up and I got my bag and I walked off that boat and I didn't go back. But I don't know if it's something about Greek men, but he just, I could tell what he was. He was just like both of my ex-husbands and my boyfriends. He was going to be super controlling, and I was not looking for that. Mom was not looking to be ruled by any man ever, ever, fucking ever again. I'm sure I'm going to get hate on the F word, but whatever. So, not that I would really think about it, but I mean, maybe I would like the guy, maybe, something could happen and I would consider it. By the way, it wouldn't have been for 10G. It would have to be more. Because, I mean, come on, I could go to jail for that. So it'd have to be more than 10, but I mean, like mama can negotiate. So I know that's crazy. And honestly, probably part of the reason I just went there onto his boat was just to hear more about it. I mean, it's not every day you get offered to someone to pay you money to marry you. So the other story is probably less interesting, but it's still kind of interesting to me. This one happened last winter in Quartzsite. I was at, maybe I shouldn't say the name. I was at a solar repair place, and they were working on my rig, and it was taking a while, and there was a guy nearby, and we started chatting, and we talked for probably like 2 hours, because I was, I didn't have anything else better to do, and we met inside, and he introduced me to the people who worked there, and I asked if he was working on his rig, and he said no, he was there because he was a supplier of some of the equipment that they sell and use in their shop. So I was like, really? Okay. By that time we were back outside, and this is after a few hours of talking to him. And I admit, when he first said it, I thought, men like to brag when they're around a woman sometimes, and they might inflate their job a little bit. So I didn't think anything about it. And then this truck rolls in, this big old rig with his name on the side of the truck. So I was like, all right, I guess you do own that company that sells solar supplies. So that's why he was there. And he was there in this giant Class A, beautiful Class A in the parking lot. And he was older than I was, but he just seemed like a really nice man. And honestly, y'all, look at the fly on my hat. And honestly, y'all, I've been thinking just a nice man's what I'm looking for. So he invited me out to dinner or lunch. We went out to lunch, and then I brought him back to my campsite at I think I was at Plamosa that night, and he hung out with my friends, and he was really charming, and we just started hanging out. And then he just I could tell he was sweet on me, but he was I think he was 70, which isn't crazy older than I am. And honestly, he didn't seem 70 to me. I think he might have been maybe 70 something, but he was just really young and vibrant and active. And I think that first day when we were still at the solar place, he showed me a picture of his helicopter. And clearly the man had some money. And I told him, don't show women pictures of your helicopter. They're going to see that you have money when they see your Class A, but don't tell them how much money you have, because some lady who's not nice like me is going to grab hold of you and marry you and take half your money. And he's like, no, no, no. And he didn't believe me. And his wife had died just a year before. And he'd been married a very long time. And he was just another marriage waiting to happen. And I hope someone hasn't already done that to him. He's a very nice man. Some nice lady is going to see the money and marry him and then divorce him and take half his money. And I would hate to see that happen. So anyway, I told him I would consider considering dating him. And we hung out for a lot. I don't know, like over a week or two, and he just got more and more clingy. And there was one day I said, look, I have to go. This isn't working for me. You're too clingy, and it's too fast for me. And he said, well, it's not like I want to marry you. He totally wanted to marry me. So if y'all want to know whether I'm a good person or not, I could have married money that day, and I'll probably tell you more offers I've had when I was younger and was, oh my God, these flows. When I was good looking, I could have married money a dozen times over when I was younger. I wasn't expecting to be able to have that option right now, but that's not who I am. But those are the 2 marriage offers I've had while on the road. Love y'all. Thank you so much for being members.